Previously on my Lana Del Rey career recap, we discussed Lana's fourth major record, Lust for Life, which signaled a return to Lana's pop and hip-hop sounds and marked a splashy return to the public eye. Chronologically, we left off on the release of Lust for Life and her 2018 LA to the Moon tour. Lust for Life was definitely a success for Lana, not just commercially but critically as well. She was nominated for the Best Pop Vocal Album Award, her second after Paradise. At the 60th Grammy Awards in 2018, Lana teased that she was working on her follow-up record. She even teased a track titled Bartender, though she wasn't quite sure if it was going to make the track list. The idea of potential new music happening so quickly after Lust for Life had dropped, and the tour just starting was a testament to Lana's prolific nature as an artist. At the time, it'd been assumed that she would continue working with Noel's and previous collaborators. The resulting sixth studio album, fifth released under Interscope Norman F Rockwell, would release just a year later on August 30th, 2019. It marked a very clear turning point in Lana's career. Many, from former detractors to longtime fans to casual music listeners, would consider NFR to be Lana Del Rey's magnum opus, an undeniably beloved collection of soft rock ballads, psychedelic rock anthems, and love songs. We're going to discuss the mysterious lead up to the record, its glowing reception, and then break down each song. NFR's creative process, for the most part, was pretty secretive. Lana kept a very low profile, occasionally teasing track titles and using social media to preview tracks. Most notably, a track Sylvia Plath, later titled Hope is a Dangerous Thing for a Woman Like Me to Have, But I Have It, was teased at a show and mentioned frequently. Tracks like Hope is a Butterfly and Bartender would make little appearances here and there in her stories. I recall the excitement fans had in February of 2018 when Lana was photographed with both Jack Antonoff and Marina. Many fans had interpret this as a potential collaboration between all three of the artists, but in reality, Lana was working with Jack as early as January of that year. In a phone interview with Zane Lowe, she pointed out that she had met Jack back when he was in Fun in 2011 and talked about the process that they had together. She pointed out his talent with piano, how easy it was for her to riff over everything he did, and how proud she was of the work that they had done together. When all was said and done, Jack and Lana co-produced 11 of the 14 tracks on the record. Other producers on the record include longtime collaborators Rick Noel's, Kieran Menzies, and Dean Reed. The other new producers on top of Antonoff include Zach Dawes of The Last Shadow Puppets, Watt, and Happy Perez. In its early stages, this album was known as Bird World. When I say that the promotion for the album was a mystery, I mean it was really messy. When we think about most album promotional cycles, even Lana's previous efforts, the lead single predates the album by a few months. In NFR's case, the space between the first single and the album drop date was nearly 1 year. On September 12, 2018, the first single of the album, Mariner's Apartment Complex, dropped. It was a soft rock song with some country folk flavor. It was the first release Lana and Antonoff collaboration and was critically acclaimed, making some of the year-end list. The song retells an experience Lana had with a partner who was feeling down, where she had to really take on the role of being their man. It was a very clever trope subversion in the way that she used to sing about being a damsel in distress, looking for her man's support, and now she's the one to give it. Just 6 days later, Lana released her second single, Venice Bitch, another Antonoff co-production. A nearly 10-minute folk rock epic that transforms from a touching acoustic ballad into a psychedelic malaise of sound and wonder. Venice Bitch was universally adored by critics, some arguing that it is amongst the best songs in her discography and the overall decade. On top of releasing Venice Bitch, Lana also shared the album title Norman F Rockwell and hinted at an early 2019 release date that was rumored to be sometime in March. Lana surprised the audience at Apple's event in 2018, debuting a new song, How to Disappear, and performing Venice Bitch for the first time. Right at the end of the year, Lana revealed the album had been completed and was thinking about dropping a song in January of 2019. That song would be Hope is a Dangerous Thing for a Woman Like Me to Have, a stripped-down autobiographical ballad where Lana just unloads about her journey, the struggles that she's had with fame and alcoholism, and nods to the iconic Sylvia Plath. Like the previous singles, it was adored by critics. Billboard even named it her best track to date. With all the buzz, fans really wanted to know when this album would drop, but no clear answer was given. Documents from Universal themselves indicated that this album would be released in mid-2019 and not March, which led to some clarification from Lana's manager over potential delays. Lana, through one of her personal Twitter accounts, Miss Daytona, would confirm to a fan that the album was finished, but who knows when it would be released. Fans began to panic about the album and whether or not it would be released. In May, Lana released a cover of Doing Time, a 1997 Sublime song. It goes without saying it received acclaim and further built anticipation for the record. Lana properly introduced the world to NFR, showcasing its cover shot by her sister Chuck Grant featuring Duke Nicholson, grandson to Jack Nicholson. She also shared the final track list and the release date. Right before the record, Lana dropped two last singles, Fuck It I Love You and The Greatest, alongside a double music video, and then the album dropped 1 week later on August 30th. Towards the end of 2019, Lana would embark on a tour supporting the record and provide a song-stealing contribution to Ariana Grande's Don't Call Me Angel, also featuring Miley Cyrus. Lana released a companion film to the album at the very end of that year. On the commercial side of things, NFR debuted in the top 3 of the Billboard 200. Selling 104,000 units. Critically speaking, it was a smash. Like, NFR is a behemoth. It is her most acclaimed album to date. Pitchfork gave her a 9.4, even calling her one of the greatest living American songwriters. Rob Sheffield said that she had finally made her pop classic. It made numerous best albums of all time list, with Pitchfork readers calling it the 17th greatest album of all time, the highest of any woman on that list. As a longtime fan of Lana's, I'll never forget the magic of seeing so many critics finally give Lana her flowers. At this point, it had been roughly 8 years since Lana entered the mainstream. She had been ridiculed very early on. She disappeared and buried herself in stylized persona-heavy records, building up a strong, dedicated fan base. Just 2 years prior to NFR, she had a quasi-happy era, and now she was just having her moment. The world was finally starting to get who she was, what her music was really about, and discovering maybe they had written her off very early. The love for this record was so strong that the title track, despite not even being a single, got a Song of the Year nomination. The album was nominated for Album of the Year, a first for Lana, and all of my love for Billie aside, I think Lana deserved to win that trophy that year. Not only was NFR the best record that year, I really believed it would have been a perfect coda to Lana's career up to that point, winning the biggest trophy at the end of a decade that she helped define and shape. Without Lana, so many artists that I love would not have the development or the opportunity to sound the way they do today. I never get bored of this clip from Billboard's Women in Music Awards.
Surely she turned into, in my opinion, the most influential artist in pop.
NFR is always within my personal top 3 when it comes to Lana albums. Sometimes it's my personal favorite. Of Lana's discography, it's definitely one of the more welcoming entries. It's no wonder why many casual listeners and newer stans adore this record. It remains witty, intellectual, and playful like her earlier works, but it's very stripped back sonically. It's a masterwork of homages to 70s classic rock, heartfelt piano ballads, and contains lyricism above and beyond her earlier work. It's unrestrained, leisurely psychedelic rock, the sort of record your grandma would have dusted off and reminisced about her long-lost summer days to, and one of the greatest records about California to date, touching on both the wonder and unfulfilled promise of the American dream that the state embodies. The surf rock touches on songs help build the semi-autobiographical world where we really don't know what's necessarily fact or fiction, but it doesn't really matter. Lana's always been an unreliable narrator of sorts, but this album really weaponizes it as a framing device. She plays with our preconceived ideas of her, the nation, the world, and in all of that, we get a really intimate view into her own views about herself and what it means to be a storyteller in a broken world. The opening track really keys us into Lana's sense of humor from its earliest lines, the song itself being a clever examination of the man, not a specific man, but the kind of man that Lana sings about. The repetition of blue being a play on blue being a masculine color, a representation of the sadness that the man carries and gives to her, and despite all of that, it's still really tied to the blue that she left us off with in Get Free. In an interview, she said that she derived the title and the gist of the song examining an archetype of guy she usually ends up with. Mariner's apartment complex flips the script, putting Lana in the shoes of the man, comforting her lover and hewing closer to the optimism lust for life closed with. A lot of fans interpret that opening line to be a reference to a misinterpreted interview at the actual Mariner's apartment complex with The Guardian, which misquoted her, but she debunked it, stating that she was setting up the scene. The song leans into long-running motifs about the beach being a place of escape, it sets up a Venice bitch connection, and it really does feel like a reconciliation of her past and present self. The narrator is a woman who's been through darkness and light and is ready to guide and lead. Venice bitch is arguably her greatest song to date. It's a living document, little moments of a happy love affair fading to time and memory. Despite being a complex production, its sentiments are really simple. It's littered with references to her own music, classic Americana imagery ranging from Hallmark greeting cards to Robert Frost's poetry to Shane Black's neo-noir, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, to Leonard Cohen's works, Tommy James and the Shondells' Crimson and Clover, and even Marilyn Monroe's Diamonds. In an interview, she mentioned that her label was not happy that she wanted to put the song out as a single. She said that the people needed the vibes, and she was very right. Fuck It, I Love You is a thrilling summer bop that juxtaposes the crushing reality of mortality against light and airy love. The version that is found digitally samples the Lucky Ones demo, my personal favorite demo, while the vinyl is a more laid-back mix, which really does lend a different energy to the song. The track continues her romanticization of California, but it acknowledges that you can't outrun the person that you are. A place does not fix you. It feels like a sister track to the title track, an acceptance that she doesn't care that that man is a man baby, she loves him. Doing Time is a lovely cover. Lana really does make that song her own, and the music video is a very fun homage to the 50-foot woman with a storyline that sees giant Lana helping her younger self get back at a cheating ex. Love Song is probably one of Lana's prettiest and most straightforward songs to date. The sheer simplicity of it all, plus the melody and the vocal delivery, makes it a de facto Lana Del Rey love song. I can't really put it into words, it's a song that you really need to hear to get. Cinnamon Girl revisits Lana's running themes and thematic exploration of intense and dangerous love. I interpret it as a sister song to Radio, where she mentions the word cinnamon. It's really the instrumental that helps drive the story along, the harshness of the synths against her soft vocals and the strings. It's like a tug of war of the soul. How to Disappear is my personal favorite off the record. It is just this really tender and tragic storytelling exercise about loving unavailable men. The guitar solo within the song serves as a shift into a dreamy alternate universe where Lana really does imagine a happier ending for herself, where she gets to stay with her lover through thick and thin. The way that she bends those closing lines to fit with the chorus in cadence is masterful. I also really love how this song and Love Song tie into a track that she did on Chemtrails, Wild at Heart, reusing the chords to tell a different story. California is a wistful ode to romance, nostalgia, and broken promises. It really doesn't feel like it's particularly directed to a particular person. It feels addressed towards a desire to have a fulfilling love story. The track was written and produced with Zach Dawes, one of the few non-Antonoff tracks. The next best American record is a repurposed demo cut from Lust for Life. Originally architecture, the track plays with the core themes of nostalgia, classic American imagery, but I have to say that the contrast between the verses to the chorus make this one a standout, and that bridge really does call back to Lana's iconic It's You delivery from video games. Underrated track. The Greatest is yet another all-time classic Lana track. It is Jack's personal favorite track, and for good reason. It's this dystopic cry for help, a perfect time capsule for the chaos of the culture and the times that this album dropped. The nostalgia for past loves and life, the outro calling to global warming, impending doom, and Kanye West's deterioration, travel to Mars. It closes out on this hope that the live stream's still on. Like, it's almost like a play on live stream instead of live stream. Just a brilliant song. Bartender nearly missed the track listing, but I'm glad it's here. The melodic playfulness Noel's employs here with Lana, it's one of the more vocally interesting tracks, the progression of time via allusions to her life, and the way that she sings Bartender and the laughter on the second chorus makes it a really fun track. Happiness is a Butterfly is a staple Lana track, hitting every mark. Hyperbolic lyrics, classic American references, uncertainty about men. It works so well with that piano backtrack. I adore that meme of Emma Roberts with the track, like it's a classic. The track directly references Nathaniel Hawthorne saying that chasing happiness causes it to elude you, and she calls on her muse to just dance with her, a simple pleasure and luxury. The closing track, Hope is a Dangerous Thing for a Woman Like Me to Have, But I Have It, is a brilliant simple piano ballad and a testament to Lana's songwriting skill. Beyond the self-comparison to Sylvia Plath, the song is riddled with Easter eggs, not just to pop culture, but events and stories in her life that she herself would only know. It's really easy to misinterpret because it's a song that she wrote for herself to own. The act of sharing it is a generous act of intimacy and trust with her audience. It's the reason that artists really make music, to share pieces of themselves we may never truly understand, but can appreciate. Overall, NFR is a 10 out of 10 record for me. It is a record that never gets old. It is a record that many fear Lana will never quite top, though I know she will one day, and it's a masterpiece. Even if I begrudgingly stan Ultraviolence a smidge more and prefer it, NFR really did establish a new era for Lana, one where she'd continue to work with Antonov to interesting results, and find herself in the crosshairs of controversy yet again. And that's a wrap on NFR. So I'll be honest with you guys, I probably will not be able to drop the Blue Banisters or Chemtrails reviews, retrospectives before Ocean Boulevard. I will prioritize Ocean Boulevard because I'm super excited for that album and I can't wait to share my thoughts on it. So look out for that coming this week. I'm going to try to aim for Saturday or Sunday, but I will need time to digest the record. I really appreciate every single one of you who has been watching this Lana series. It really touches my heart to know that there are like a lot of Lana stans out there who just really want a place to appreciate, remember, and love an era. So thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting your favorite track on all of these videos. A shout out to my members, and I really do look forward to finishing this series and possibly starting a new one on another artist. So drop down who you think I should cover next, because who knows, I might pick yours. And thanks guys.